Hi, everybody. This is Carol, and today we're excited to be joined by developer Cory Zapatka of the Stash Diabetes app. He's going to tell us all about his exciting new app that helps us manage our stash. Stash is a free app, and it's available in the Apple App Store.
Hi everyone. So my name's Corey, and I recently launched an app called Stash, which is an app basically to help manage your inventory. Anyone who is a person with diabetes knows that there's a million things that you have to control or keep tabs on, from insulin vials to pods to oral medication. If you're on a pumped system, cartridges and infusion sets, so on and so forth. Um, I built this app when my daughter was 3 months old. I was sleep deprived and caring for a newborn, and I went to my diabetes closet and went to go get an infusion set. I'm on Tandem currently, but I went to go get a new infusion set, reached into my little plastic bin, and there were no infusion sets left. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! How did I lose track of this? Why didn't I have an up-to-date inventory?" Typically it was like a post-it note on my fridge or in my phone, like a notes app in my phone. And that's when I realized that there wasn't an app that was dedicated to this. It worked across multiple systems, multiple manufacturers. Um, so with a 3-month-old at night, from 10 p.m. to midnight, 1 a.m., I built Stash. The first version was just for me. It was a tandem profile with a Dexcom G7. And then slowly I started building it for my friends. I live in New York, so my friends in the city who had type 1, hey, could you add Omnipod? Could you add Medtronic? Could you add Libre? And it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And then I decided, hey, I might as well just put this out there for anyone to use. And so I posted about it on Reddit. It immediately got like 100 downloads in one day, which was way more than I ever thought that it would get. It exceeded my expectations. And fast forward about 3 months now, we have about 4,000 users now, which is like, again, just blows my mind. But the excitement and the momentum is just keeping me going. So I keep building it, and more people come. So what I'll do is, let's see if I can just share my screen here and make sure that you guys can see this. Are you able to see this screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So this is a pretty bare bones view of um, a demo space. I actually just set this up. I had mentioned to some of the folks on the call earlier that I'm actually switching from Tandem system to Omnipod. So I have my introductory box here. So it came with 10 pods, so I scanned them in. Um, Basically, what you can do is um, you can open up this scanner. Now, these are probably going to say that these items are already in my inventory. But this little barcode that exists on um, every box of sensors or pods, it's called a GS1 barcode. What you can see that's encoded in that barcode is the serial number of the item, the lot number, and the expiration date, as well as this thing called the GTIN, which is the Global Trade Identification Number. And that's just kind of like the you know the barcode number that gets registered to a global database. Um, Let me actually just I'm going to delete my sensors here just so you can see the whole flow. So you open the barcode scanner, you scan your barcode. There it shows the GTIN, the expiration date, the lot number, and the serial number. You can confirm the wear time. It usually selects the right one because it matches the GTIN, which says how many days are on that sensor. But just to confirm, in case you're a user that maybe right now has 10 days and 15 days kind of intertwined in your inventory, and then you can add it to your stash. You can do that over and over and over again. I currently have about 10 sensors in my closet, so I would add those, just scanning one after the other, super quick. Then what you can do is when you tap on that category, you can see a breakdown of all of the items that you have. So for sensors, right now I only have one because I deleted the category. I also have one in use that was a previous session that I started, but I can talk more about that. And then it gives you a breakdown of how much of that supply you have left. So obviously the math here with a 10-day sensor is pretty easy. You know, if you have one sensor or two sensors, it's 10 days or 20 days. This takes into account the 20 days here. The sensor session that I currently have active, which is why I have one in my inventory, but I have a fresh sensor that I just put on, 20 days total. Um, and then the other cool thing here is that, and I'll get more into this later, but next to the lot number at the top, where it says lot 1725, it actually tells you how many other users of the app are holding that exact same lot number as you. You're probably asking, why does that matter? Um, because one of the things that I'm really proud of with Stash is that it has built-in recall alerts. So, for instance, if I tap into my pods category, you can see here I have the 9 pods that I entered today that are good. They just came from Insulet, so they're not affected by the recall. I have this demo lot number that was impacted by the recalls a number of months ago, the first Insulet recall. So when you tap on the red shield, you actually get all of the recall information related to that lot number. And what this means is if you're an Omnipod user, you have been an Omnipod user for a long time, you might have, 10 different rows of different lot numbers. You will automatically be alerted when your lot is affected by a recall. And this was hugely popular at the end of May. We actually saw a huge uptick in users because I had posted this feature on the Omnipod subreddit. And a lot of people were frustrated with the lack of being able to just scan their pods. You would have to go to the Insulet website, enter your lot numbers one by one. This just made the whole process just was a lot less friction in trying to find out if your pods were affected or not. Um, there's a slew of other features and things that you can track. Insulin vials is one. So like Humalog vials, for instance, even pens have the same barcode. It's the exact same barcode that is on every single item. So when you scan those, you can also see these lots are a lot bigger. So, there are 29 people, 29 users with that same July 26th lot that I have. And it calculates how much insulin you have left based on your daily usage rates. Um, since this calculates your days remaining, you get simple low stock notifications. So when you're, under 30 days on pods or insulin or, you know, pen needles or whatever you're tracking, you'll get just very light notifications to kind of nudge you to say, hey, it's time to reorder. Don't forget about this, like I did when I was caring for my 3-month-old. Um, I guess I'll stop there and see, does anyone have any questions about Stash and just the main dashboard here?
I have a question.
Sure.
Uh, do you have the pod lot numbers for people outside the United States or just the US recall?
Yep, this works globally. So when Insulet has a recall, they publish both the US and it's called OUS, outside US numbers. So the database covers them all. So I think that the latest recall was primarily North American. There were some Canadian lot numbers that were added later. But I think there were also some Eros pods that affected majority European users. Um, but any lot number that is published by the manufacturer or the FDA will be uploaded, so users around the country, or sorry, around the world will be able to get these notifications.
Thank you.
Brad has a question. Go ahead, Brad.
Thanks. You mentioned the low stock notifications.
Yep.
Um, I guess what other notifications are there, and do they have user controlled settings?
Yeah, definitely. I like to say that the notifications for this app are minimal by design. I know that everyone with diabetes has notification fatigue. I myself am always muting my Dexcom or my Tandem, and like every app is just blazing, like notifications at me. So you're able to toggle on or off any of these. So if you don't want expiration notifications, low stock notifications, or pump change reminders, you don't need to get those notifications. I know that we are all very tired. Um, And then the other thing that you can do is tweak what your preference is for what is considered low stock. So if you say you do feel comfortable with 30 days or less of Omnipods and you only want a notification when you have 10 days left, you can customize that. So you're not always getting notifications at the 30-day mark.
Thanks.
Hmm.
Can you walk through an example? Like I loaded my supplies in because that was really easy.
Hmm.
And then I kind of forgot about it. But suppose I'm changing a pod tomorrow. I
Sure.
want to indicate which pod I'm using and also indicate that I'm using some insulin. Is there like a procedure for doing that? Can
Yeah.
you walk us through
So
that?
let me I'll go through the flow right now. And what I'll actually do, I'm going to just end these. This is just all sample data. I'm going to end all of these now. Um, and I'm going to just skip all of these reports. I'll tell you about these reports as well. I'll keep this insulin vial here. So basically what you're able to do as well with Stash is track how much insulin you have in an open vial. Um,
Right.
so, and if you want, there is also a 28-day room temp timer. Some people choose to follow that. Again, Brad, that's a notification that you can turn on or off if you want to be alerted that your, you know, insulin has been at room temp for 28 days, the manufacturer recommended guidelines. I'm going to keep this here, but go back to my inventory. Um, so say I have my Omnipod 5, the first one that I've ever used. What you can do is tap the barcode icon again in the bottom right of your screen, and it will pop open the scanner. Where it says scan in, you can go to scan out and tap scan out. And
Oh,
then on the
okay.
individual Omnipod 5 package, there's another code. So when you scan that, it'll say, hey, you are scanning out an Omnipod 5 from this lot with this expiration date. You have 10, and then after you use this, you will have 9 left. And you say, okay, cool. Now, here's another fun feature is that you can track where you're placing these. This will allow you, it doesn't give any advice. It never says like, hey, you are overusing this area and try to use this area instead. It's a non-clinical app, but will help you try to view patterns of where you might be overusing. So say you want to apply this one to the back of your right arm. You hit continue. Now it asks how much insulin have you put into your pump. So you can select the open vial that you have. You can do the max fill, or maybe you're someone who, only wants to do 150 units into your pod. Once you select how much insulin you've put in, you just confirm the pump change. You see now that your days remaining um, in the insulin went down, your pod count went down. And then when you go to in use, you now have the Omnipod 5 with 2 days and 23 hours left. There is also the 8-hour grace period that starts. And then you can see that the 150 units was deducted from the open insulin vial. So that's kind of the flow there. One thing to know is that you don't need to stop your Omnipod 5. So this will automatically count down. This is just a visual to say, you should always obviously use your controller or your Omnipod app to get the official time to know when the change happens. This doesn't actually connect to your Omnipod app at all. This is just a single place to see all of the data across Dexcom, or all of the time remaining across Dexcom, Omnipod, and your insulin and such. Um, if you do, if you maybe forgot to start this and you want to go back and edit it, you can long press. So if you tap and hold on anything in the in use, you can edit the start time. So you can say, oh, I meant to do this yesterday. So I'm going to go back and change it to July 8th at, noon. And then when you save, it will update to the proper time. So that's one thing. A lot of people are like, oh, shoot, I forgot to activate it at the same time. A lot of people are doing it afterwards. Um, and yeah, it's the same flow for sensors. So if you have a sensor here, you can go to scan out. Um, you scan the GS1 barcode. This is saying, hey, you only have, this is your last one. But when you use it, you can also, I'll put it on the same arm. little bit further from my Omnipod, um, confirm the wear time, and then use it. And then now you have your in-use insulin vial, your Omnipod, and your Dexcom all in one place to see exactly when they need to be replaced. You'll also get a gentle, Brad, again, this goes back to the notifications. If you have them enabled, you'll get um, a pump change notification and a sensor change notification at the 12-hour mark. And then once you hit the grace period, it'll say your grace period has started. For Omnipod, 8 hours remaining, and Dexcom, 12 hours remaining, et cetera, et cetera. Should I pause there? Any questions?
I do have a question about the data. Where does the data lie? Who has access to all the data that people upload in there?
Yeah.
And how is it kept and who is it shared with?
Sure. The data is not shared with anyone. I'm a team of one. So all of the actual inventory data is the app right now, I should also caveat, is iOS only. So all of your inventory data is end-to-end encrypted on Apple's CloudKit. When you opt into recall alerts, to receiving recall alerts, you have an anonymous user ID that's like automatically generated, not tied to your ID or identification. Your lot numbers are updated to Supabase, just a Postgres backend to match. And that's also how the lot population matching works as well. And then the one feature that I haven't talked about yet is the community reporting feature, which is opt-in only. So that is a very light data sharing model, again, de-identified with a pretty high K anonymity factor. So there's virtually no personal information being shared, even when you do opt in to share data.
But it's stored in the US because you're US based,
That's correct.
I guess.
Yep.
Okay. So it says on the App Store that it is also using location data. How is that used and why?
Yeah,
If I may
location.
be so.
I can show you right here. This will get into the community reporting feature, so I'll just jump into that now. So if say you're using an Omnipod,
Mhm.
it's not a part of the recall, but the lot numbers are really close. And you suspect maybe there is a kink in the tubing in this Omnipod. You want to report it to the community. Let's report an issue with this lot number. So I can tell everyone else on Stash, all 4,000 people, that, hey, I think that there's a suspected underdelivery of this lot number, PR1U. The only time that Stash will ever collect location data is if you opt in to the optional region sharing, and this is to help discover like local clusters of failures if they exist. So you can send this report without location data if you want. A lot of our users don't add location data at all. That's fine. We still get the lot number, which is anonymous. So if you
Mhm.
want to, let me actually do this here. Oh, that's weird. The pop-up isn't showing up in my screen share. But you can allow location sharing. Um, and I'm not going to send the report because I don't want to send a fake report. But that's the only time that I collect any sort of location data. It's purely opt-in through the community reporting feature.
Okay, and so how would I now see that there are, I don't know, if 25 reported on the delivery like pods in New York?
Sure.
Is that like a stat that you just kind of make up and then you would like send out a notification to like New York based users and go like, hey, there's a cluster of under delivering pods, or like
Yeah, well, there's an editorial feature to this. So right now, I mean, the sample size is fairly low. So, we have to make the editorial decision if we say, hey, there are, 5 reports on this lot. That's probably not going to meet the editorial standards for putting out a community notice. But we do have the ability, very similar to recall notices. And I actually don't know if I have any set up right now that I can show you. But if you do have a lot that is affected by a number of reports, you'll actually get a blue shield instead of a red shield. So the red shield, obviously denotes recalls. A blue shield will be a community notice, which will say, hey, just so you know, 25 users have reported insertion failures on this lot of Dexcom. Do with that what you will. Again, we're not giving any clinical advice to not use that item.
Mhm.
But Stash will take the editorial decision whether it meets that first K-anonymity threshold where we feel safe that we won't be identifying anyone by processing this. Um, and also, we think that there is actually a signal there to publish this and let other people know about the issue. So it's not like, one person can't submit a report and it will automatically flag that lot to all 4,000 users. There'll be a threshold that needs to be met. And that's constantly changing with the amount of people that are opting into this and the types of data that we receive.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a comment only. This looks great, and it seems like it would be really useful for caregivers of T1Ds who need extra help, be it the elderly with maybe memory conditions. But this looks awesome I'm really appreciate the work you've done here.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, one thing to note, there's actually been a lot of interest from both parents of young children who were recently diagnosed and overwhelmed with the sheer amount of supplies that they have to deal with. Um, but on the flip side, there's a feature that, I mean, there's a ton of features, and I probably won't be able to get into all of them on this call, but you can actually also share your view of your stash with someone else. So if you are um, caring for an elderly parent and want to see how their inventory is doing, make sure that they are keeping up on their orders, if they have enough insulin and enough sensors, you can actually enable sharing. So you get this share code, very similar to how like Dexcom Clarity works with providers. And when you get this code, you can enter it, view someone else's stash. You can enter that code. It is read only at this point. So you actually won't be able to make edits or make changes to their inventory, but you can kind of step in and just look and see and like, hey, how's mom or dad doing? Do they have, oh, they only have one sensor left. I should probably call them and let them know that they should reorder or do the reordering for them if you have the ability to do so.
Yeah.
So this has also been something that people have been really excited about, just from you know, a caregiver perspective, to your point.
Brad
Thanks.
has a question. Go ahead, Brad. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Brad, you're on mute.
Um, Regarding sharing your stash,
Yeah.
can the app be used to help people share pods if someone's looking for pods or running out, or there's a recall and someone wants other types of things, whether it's a pod or other supplies?
There's no sharing like that. Um, the only like tangential answer I could give you is let me actually show you something. Um, Say, for example, I had way too much insulin. So say I had, 20 vials of insulin. No, that won't even do it. Let me see. There is something that will pop up if you have excess supplies that are going to expire before your run out. So say you have 100 pods, that's 300 days, but uh, 30 of them expire within that 300-day window. You will get a little nudge that says, hey, just so X amount of these supplies are going to expire before before the run out date. Um, I know that's not an answer to your question, but it can help you make informed decisions about which supplies might expire before you're able to use them. Therefore, maybe those are ones that you might want to donate or give away. But to answer your question, no, there's no actual official like, would you like to donate these to other users?
I have another question. So our community has recently experienced quite a high number of what we call 203 errors from our Omnipod Atlas dash pods. Um, and what we've read, on Reddit, every place we can look for data from other users that are not on an open source system, they're not experiencing this. Would there be a way for us to manually input lot numbers and then see if other people are reporting issues with those same lot numbers? Or does it all have to be scanned?
Um,
Can you manually put it in?
Yeah, right now there's no manual lot entry, but it is something that I'm actually developing right now for manual entry.
Okay.
When you add an item using the plus button, it'll be a simple thing to add. So say you wanted to add pods here. The main thing that I'm trying to avoid, the barcode scanning is so good at getting things right. And the issue that I've seen, and a lot of people who have written to me about the recall feature, they went to the Insulet website to enter their lot numbers and they were entering them wrong. It's, you know, 8 or 10 digits. It's very easy to transfix the numbers or hit the wrong key. Um, so I hesitated putting a manual lot entry field for that reason. Um, I could do an OCR like character reader, which might make it a little bit easier to do. Um, but it's definitely, I think I will be adding that in the near future. I will say I have received a lot of 203. You can add notes to failure reports. And in the notes fields, I have seen a lot of people just enter 203. So those are coming in and they are being reported. And if a certain lot has a certain number of those 203, notes added, then we could issue a community report and let anyone who has that lot know, hey, just so you know, there's a higher prevalence of error code 203 with this lot reported over the last 90 days.
Yeah, I have several lots. One has six. Yeah, one's got seven, one has four, and one has six that show up as having users who are using the same lots.
Cool. And yeah, I think it's kind of a funny little feature. Like I hesitated to publish it because I thought people might say like, why do we need this? But I like it personally, mostly because I think that sometimes when you're, dealing with diabetes, it's very isolating. And sometimes I like just glancing down and saying like, oh, wow, there are 10 other people using the same pods as me. That's kind of cool. And at the same time, I think when I have an issue and I go to report it, I know that I might be helping those 10 other people spot issues before they become a recall.
And I do want to say a year ago, I was checking back and forth with my local buddies saying, are you having trouble with this set of pods? Yes, I'm having trouble. If your app had been around, we would have been saying the thing's not delivering right. I was changing pods, after 1 to 2 days because I just was not getting good absorption. And having an app like this would have been invaluable um, to help validate. I wound up just setting those things aside and not using them because it's one of those so subtle you can't really call insulin and say, I mean, it's working, but it's requiring a lot more insulin and it's not lasting as well. It's just really vague thing to call in. So
Yeah. Well, I hope that it's able to help as many people as possible.
It's wonderful. And we have two more questions. Suvdid, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name
Yeah.
wrong.
Hi, Suvit. Yeah, so I just wanted to know for the diabetes supply which doesn't have barcodes, just for example, the overlays, overpatches, do we go to the miscellaneous part of the app and just add them manually?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I can show
what
you
do we
right
do?
now. Yep. So if you hit the plus button instead of the barcode button on the bottom right, you can actually select your
Yeah, I
um,
was just checking that out.
yeah, so you can
Go to
you can
the miscellaneous part.
yep, you can select other. The really cool thing here is that you can actually auto deduct them. So say you have, Pod Pals or another adhesive that you like, you can choose to deduct one with every pod that you use. So you don't actually have to swipe, and deduct an adhesive every single time. So say you have, I don't know, say you have 30 patches. I'll just call them patches for now, just to keep it simple. Um, You'll now have those here, and every time that you use an Omnipod, it'll deduct one from your adhesive patch. So, and you can do that with anything. I mean, you could technically
E-
track juice
Even with the
boxes.
even with the CGMs then, if you're not using the one that we get from the manufacturer, if you're buying a third party ones, that can be added with the CGMs. It'll automatically get deducted, auto deducted.
Yeah, totally. So say your preferred brand is like Sim. I spelled that wrong, but say it's like Sim Patch. You know what I'm trying to type.
Yeah.
Um, you can still say, set up a different uh, adhesive. Say you have one adhesive for pods, one adhesive for CGMs. For this one, you can say deduct one with sensors, and say you have 30 there. Sorry for my misspelling, but now you have a patch that will automatically deduct with a pod and a patch that will automatically deduct with a CGM. So you don't even have to touch
Nice.
those. It'll just automatically keep the tally whenever you use one of those supplies.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
The questions are rolling in. Dan, take it away.
Asking for a friend. How many hate mails have you gotten from Insulet and Dexcom?
None, actually. It's been very surprising. A couple of the people from their product team have reached out just to say, hey, I really enjoy what you're doing. But it's stopped there and gone radio silent. So no hate mail yet. But we'll see.
Okay, and just a suggestion for the insights, I would probably differentiate between Omnipod Aerostash and Omnipod 5, and Dexcom G6 and G7, and if you want to, one Plus and Stilo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have all the GTIN data is there, so it'll be really easy to parse. This insight page is really just a preview. Basically, I want to be able to show people when they say, like, your questions, what are you doing with this data? This is just an overview to say, I am hoping to turn it around for the community so that the people using the products can see the data that they're submitting. I totally know that this isn't the perfect way to be distributing it, and it can be broken down so much better by GTIN, lot numbers, etc. This is very much a V1 early, just looking at wear time across the manufacturers, but it can be, the drill downs can be much more granular. I agree.
Okay, and then just a last question on my part. I'm kind of following to what you were just showing with the patches, the different patches.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had trouble actually trying to enter different sensors and different pumps into it. So for example, I have different like loads of pods and I can't really distinguish them in the app yet. How would I tell it that I have 6 G6s and now I have been moved to G7 and I have 10 G7 sensors?
Yeah.
Does that work yet? Is that a feature to come? Am I kind of...
I will admit that it's where we are right now in sensor technology is very sloppy. It feels like there were a lot of recalls, and now there's the G6 is being phased out, and you have the G7, but then the G7 you have the 10-day and the 15-day, and now Ipsomed just announced that they were like allowing Dexcom now, so you have a lot of Libra users that are moving to Dexcom in Australia. Like, it's all over the place. So what I have enabled is, I also have pre-soaking, which is exciting. This is new, but it hasn't launched yet. But if you choose to pre-soak, you can save your code number so that you don't have to keep your box, or you can throw the box away now, and it has your serial number and code in Stash. But when you go to start a sensor, I've now included wear time, a wear time picker everywhere, because so many people have a mixture of 10-day and 15-day Dexcoms now. That's the closest thing I have to differentiating between the different types of Dexcoms. So it's not a great answer to your question, and
No, it's fine. So basically right now since like your stash that you just scanned right now for your demo case here was G7 stash, was it a G7 stash? I could only differentiate between the 10-day G7 and the 14-day. I couldn't keep like G6s and G7s and maybe Libre 2 Plus and 3 Plus.
You could, and sorry, I should clarify. They will show up here in your in use, and it'll say the label. So it'll say, Dexcom G7 and Dexcom G6. When you go to scan out, it will automatically choose from the correct row as well, because it's matching by lot and serial number, since Dexcoms are serialized. So you can have, in theory, you could have G6s, G7 10 days, and G7 15 days. And when you go to scan out, Stash will still allow you to add it to your inventory and scan out the right one every time. The logic might just start getting confused with what the actual wear time is, which is why I've included that wear time picker, just so that you can confirm how long the session should count down for. But it will know, it will be able to categorize all of the sensors that you put in.
Bruno has a question. Go ahead, Bruno.
The way I am tracking my test strips, because I don't do many blood test strips, is I'm tracking the boxes. So when I'm trying to scan, it says
Vials, right?
my OCD would tell me to put the 60 strips that I have in the box. But when I try to use it, I don't want to use on every strip. I want to use on the box. You make sense?
I believe so.
I want to track my stash of boxes.
Yep.
So I want to know that I have 150, 80 in this case, because each box is 60. And I want to remove from the stash when I open the box, not when I use a strip.
Got it.
The way I solved it is I'm tracking one unit as a box. I don't know if it's something you want to look into, because I'm probably the only person in the world that controls like that.
Let's talk more about it. I'd love to just figure out And I will say there are a lot of fringe cases, and I get emails like this multiple times a week. A lot of people asking to use stuff off-label too, where I'm saying like, I don't know if I really want to support that. But we should chat because I want to figure out a solution. I will say test strips is starts to get tricky. There are a lot of combinations of the numbers of test strips and the numbers of boxes and the numbers of vials in boxes and um, yeah, let's chat.
And I can even give you a worse. Like I track the blood glucose test strips differently than when I treat my ketones test strips because I use way more blood glucose ones than ketone ones.
Yep.
So there's that too.
Yeah. Strips are hard because there are a lot of them. I think there were over like 60 or 70,000 test strips entered into Stash in the first few days. Because I mean, obviously you enter them in bulk, thousands of test strips at a time. Um, but yeah, get my info and we can or my email address and we can chat about it. Wendy mentioned that pre-soak is not enabled. That is actually not live yet. That is coming in the next update. I'm on my demo
Thank you.
phone. Yeah,
Thank you.
Pretty nice.
cool. Well, thank you, everyone. I do have to hop to another meeting now that it's 3, but I really appreciate you all joining and all the great questions.
Thanks
so much.
Thank
Cory.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Cory.
Thank you.